Music in the Cafe, a Lucanet alternate universe month-long fanfiction. I will be using the daily prompts found in the Lucanet September 2019 calendar. This is not mine. I will be putting the Tumblr page I found this on in the description box below. I do not claim any credit to it, only to the story. Thank you for watching, reading, or listening. Day 1. First meeting. Luca Kufane could tell you a thing or two about ambition. He was a 22-year-old who had just finished university at a fine arts school and was trying to make a break in the music world. But of course, it was still 6 a.m., and he was headed to a nearby cafe named Ladybug's Coffee. It seemed cozy enough, and it was close by the job he was working at to pay rent. He pushed through the double doors and glanced around the interior. It was well-sized. As he walked through, he noted that there was a second half of the cafe that was a much larger area. It was more of a seating area with pictures and wall backgrounds and one large stage. Luca nodded to himself and filed in line only behind one other person. "Hi, what can I get for you?" said the barista. She had black hair and blue eyes, with slightly Asian features and a bright smile. She was a rather pretty woman. Hi, I'll just take a vanilla latte," Luca said. Despite the early morning, Luca felt more awake just by being around this girl. Of course, coffee would have done a better job, but he understood why the previous customer chatted with her as she prepared her drink. Vanilla latte. That's a classic," she said merrily. "I haven't ever seen you. Are you new here?" she asked, pumping 3 squirts of the flavoring.
"Kinda. I grew up here, but I moved to Britain for schooling," Luca explained. "Luca, by the way."
The black-haired girl smiled and she began to make the espresso. "Oh, that must have been a fun experience. What did you go to school for, Luca? I'm Marinette, by the way." As Marinette finished making the latte, Luca told her about his music, and they had a nice little chat. Luca sat at one of the bar stools where he and Marinette could keep talking. "My normal rush hour should be coming in about 30 minutes, so can I set up as we talk?" Marinette asked politely. Luca smiled and nodded. She was the only worker in at the time, so it was obvious that she needed to get ready for the busy hours.
"So, this is your cafe?"
Marinette smiled. "Yep, bought it and built it up myself to how it is right now. Started at 20 and here I am, 2 years later, and it's grown." Luca grinned. She was a hard-working person, just like him.
"That's great."
Marinette laughed. "I like to think so." The door opened and 4 people came streaming in.
"Rush hour?"
Luca asked. Marinette nodded and began to attend to her customers. Out of nowhere, there were more employees in the back of the shop. They had appeared almost by magic. Marinette happily chatted with each of her customers as she took their order. Every single one of them had a smile on their face, and soon enough, their drinks were ready. The first to leave was a man in a black suit with glasses. He waved goodbye before leaving. The second was a girl with red hair. She carried 2 cups. The next girl, Luca knew. It was his sister Julica's best friend Rose. She got a very sweet-looking drink, and she said goodbye before noticing Luca at the bar. "Luca, it's so nice to see you again," Rose chirped.
"Hi, Rose," he said.
Rose was a very sweet girl, but her excited childlike demeanor and high voice did give Luca a headache after a long period of conversating with her. The last girl had curly hair and talked with Marinette for a length of time. That girl got a hug when she left. "Bye, girl," he heard her say before closing the cafe doors. "Just the beginning," Marinette said joyfully.
"You seem to know all your customers personally," Luca commented.
Marinette laughed and waved her hand in the air. "Yeah, I went to school with some of them, and those I didn't, I try to talk to. It's a better morning if you see a friend. This is a fun place where you can hang out and snack. I try to make it feel like you're just going to a friend's house. Luca nodded. A friend with excellent coffee. Marinette laughed again. I think you do a great job of making this place feel like a friend's house. I've just came here less than an hour ago, and I already feel so at home here. You're super friendly and sweet, and you have a very kind face, so it must be easy to charm everyone, Lucas said. Thanks, I try. So, why'd you decide to name this place Ladybug's Coffee? Luca inquired. Well, I've always liked ladybugs, so I thought it'd be a cute name. She smiled. I notice you have a stage in the back, Luca mentioned. Yeah, I host concerts sometimes, Marinette said. Do you want to look at it? Luca nodded, and Marinette smiled and took off her apron. Come, she said, leading him to the back. I have a pretty good sound system and decent lighting. If you have a band, you can come here and play, she offered. Sounds good. It looks very nice. I do a solo act now, but it would be a great way of getting started. Marinette nodded. Great! Luca checked his phone for the time. Thank you so much for the great conversation and coffee. I'll definitely be back, he smiled before waving goodbye and leaving. Marinette smiled as she watched Luca leave and then headed back to the counter to get her apron back. Don't look at me like that, she said to one of her workers, Tiki, who gave her a pointed look. I'm not, Tiki said, putting her hands up, prompting the other workers to laugh. Marinette rolled her eyes but had an amused smile on her face. Either way, I'm glad you met someone nice, Tiki continued. It's not like that, she defended. Her employees all hummed in unison, questioning the truth in that statement. Sure, it's not like that now. You didn't just spend almost an hour talking to this new stranger, Dusu said. I can make friends, Marinette argued. The other 4 baristas glanced around with a knowing look. Anyways, it's almost 7:45. Let's get a move on, people, and stop talking about my love life. Another rush of people came in. However, this time was much larger. The 5 workers needed to churn out drink after drink. There was no time for polite conversation. It was go time. An hour later, the number of people had dwindled down. It was time for Tiki, Plagg, and Marinette to head home. Marinette would be back at lunch. The other 2 had different schedules. Marinette, Tiki called as the 3 began to head out. Yeah? Marinette answered. Tiki gestured to a table in the back, and Marinette could feel her pulse getting faster as she grew more nervous about what Tiki wanted to talk about. We need to talk about Luca. No, we don't. Yes, we do. You're pushing it away. Marinette sighed. She didn't want to be talking about this. It made her head hurt and spin too fast. It was just friendly. Plagg snorted. If you ask me, it was friendly enough. Don't you think it's time to move on? Marinette rolled her eyes. Plagg was rather blunt. I have moved on. Tiki shook her head. You know that's not what he meant. You need to move on and to someone new. Don't keep using the whole "it's too soon for a new relationship" excuse. It's been over a year. It's been long enough. Marinette sighed. I don't know if I'm ready to jump back in, she admitted. Even this simple conversation was making her feel tired, which was strange as she was normally a ball of energy during most of the day. Who knows until you try it, Plagg said. Marinette's hands shook violently under the table for a few seconds before she got it under control. You've turned out 3 people already. Why not give this one a chance? Try it. We want you to be happy. Yeah, and besides, I like this one much better. Marinette laughed. Plagg actually got along very well with her ex-boyfriend. But when they broke up, Flag was rather angry. I'm just scared. Tiki took Marinette's hand consolingly. Everything's scary until you try it. It's gonna be okay. And I can tell he has a little thing for you too. Marinette smiled. Thanks, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. The black-haired girl stood and waved goodbye before leaving for her home. Try. I guess I'll try. I'll at least try, she thought with a smile on her face. It couldn't hurt to try.